friends, it's Laura. I'm mostly crafty here on YouTube and Instagram. Welcome to my Flosstube, where I'm going to talk about cross-stitching and some thrifting. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today I have one fully finished object, some progress on some other projects that you know and love. I also have some haul from Market as well as some thrifting. And then I want to do a giveaway kind of in the middle to celebrate having 125 subscribers. So let's get started. To start off, I have one fully finished object. I showed this a few weeks ago as fully finished, but I refinished it because I wasn't super happy with the frame choice. I felt like it was giving British country manor men's study in a hunting lodge and not whimsical maximalist cottagecore, which is a little bit more my vibe. So I refinished it because I was thrifting on Friday and found the perfect frame, the most perfect frame. Now, I felt like this was like good karma turnabout because a few weeks ago I was thrifting and found two cool frames that had obviously just been put out. One like big kind of gold frame, and then one smaller, very ornate gold frame, which is like very much my vibe. However, I was in the fabric craft homey sheet section, set the frames down, and someone took the smaller gold one while I was searching. Now, it's on me. I didn't have a cart. I wasn't like super tied to it. I probably would have bought it, but I felt like, I missed out. However, this time I was in the knickknack section, like the tchotchke section, which has been very low lately. And I found a white oval frame, which if you know, those are very difficult to find, oval frames. And so I bought it, and guess what? It is the perfect size for my heated rivalry loon. Look, sorry for the glare. Look how perfect it is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I didn't even lace it. I just shoved all the fabric in the back. I nailed it on the first try. It's, oh, look how sunny it is. Shocking. It's maybe, it's maybe like a little bit going up, but I just like to think that the loon is like proudly in the water. So that's what I'm going to go with. It's absolutely perfect. It was $6. I used a paint pen to touch up a couple of the spots that were busted, but it's like it was made for my loon. Look how cute it is. I love it so much. On the back, it says Pottery Barn. I need to come up with like a hook at the top because there's only one here so that I can hang it on my cottagecore whimsy wall and celebrate heated rivalry. Yay, I love it so much. I'm thrilled with that finish. In terms of projects, I have one finish-ish, one new start, and then some progress. So I guess I'll do the finish-ish first. So this is Winter's Folly by Nora Corbett. It is a finish-ish. Don't mind the threads that you can see through. That's going to be a problem. Because I finished all of the stitching, I just need to start the beads. So I only had a couple hundred stitches left. It was the white along the tops of each of these planters, and then the white through here, and then I had all the back stitch, which is up through here, and then on the trees. So now I just need to start the beads. There's like 400 beads, and every day I'm like, okay, today's the day I'm going to learn how to bead, and I just haven't yet. So Winter's Folly by Nora Corbett. This is on 32 count Graceful Gray by Witchelt Linen. It's the called for. It's very see-through. I don't love this fabric. I just dropped the project. It's fine. I'm going to have to go through and really clip my threads on the back, which I already did that. And then I accidentally pulled out some of the trunk on the tree. So I had to go back and restitch that. It's all the called for floss, except, okay, I think this dark brown is supposed to be a Karen Water Lilies. And that, here, let me do this. It's really, the dark brown is on the feet of this planter, and the very bottom here, and then it's the back stitching, and that seemed not very much for a $7 skein of floss, so I switched to 3371. And then honestly, the other variegateds are the blue, which I think is great. That green, that light green, I think is great. And then this dark blue on the border, which the way that my skein was cut, it's barely variegated. So it's all right. I'm gonna work on the beads and then this will be done. I'm so close. So close. I have one new start. Since I got my market haul releases, I started Pink Wren. Yay! I'm so excited to start Pink Wren by JEDXStitch. I ordered the paper pattern because I wanted to stitch it right away. And I didn't realize she'd be releasing her market patterns on PDF April 6th. But that's okay. I already started it. I have 391 stitches. That is the back. Laura. Ha! I mean, it looks about the same. Look how good it looks. 391 stitches. This is Emu Bush by Fox and Rabbit, 32 count. I got this from Stephanie Cross Stitch the Globe's D-Stash a few months ago. The called for is a Roxy Floss French hen. And on the back of the pattern, on the back of the paper pattern, she does suggest Zweigart Dark Olive since a lot of people can't get Roxy Floss fabric in the US, but I think it's fine. I do think that this orange doesn't have enough tonal difference from the grayish. Reads a little more green on camera. It has a slight green tinge. I think the pink will be fine. I think I'm going to change the orange to be either darker or lighter, depending. But I'm not that far into it. I wanted to kind of see how it's looking. Love stitching on this. Very happy. Very excited. I was traveling a lot for work this week, so I brought 3 projects with me to work in the hotel or on the plane or what have you. So the first is my new start from last week. It is Seasons Keeper Winter by Barbara Anna Designs. I love stitching on this. I love it so much. This was my snow day project, so I started it a week ago Saturday because it was snowing in Seattle for some bizarre reason. It was also snowing Sunday when I went to the airport. And then lo and behold, it was snowing in Cleveland Monday and Tuesday. So I'm glad I brought this with me. I worked on it every single day. I love stitching on this. This is 32 count Atomic Ranch Sky linen. I love this. It's so soft. It's so pretty. 10 out of 10. I don't know what the base is. I don't think I have a selvage on it. I love it. I love it. And then all called for DMC so far, except I went up or down one shade in the purple. But I love stitching on this. I don't know how much I got done the past week. Probably doesn't matter. I want to keep working on this. I really love working on this. I just wish it was still winter. No, that's a lie. I don't wish that at all. I might keep working on this. There are no rules in cross stitch. That's great. Next up, I worked on Heart Deco by Stephanie at Cross Stitch the Globe, although it's not showing up in my pattern keeper. So I don't know what's going on because I'm like 35% sure I brought this with me and worked on it because I had messed up and so I was re-stitching it while watching the Oscars Sunday night. So I don't know what happened, but that's where I am right now. I don't know why it's not in my pattern keeper. Glitch in the matrix. Awesome sauce. And the last project I brought with me on my trip was Local Conditions by Satsuma Street. This is a temperature chart stitch along type thing. There's my progress. Look at all that green. It's been so warm. It's been terrific. On this one, I am at 1,292 out of 6,000. I'm at 21%. I am caught up to yesterday. However, oh, look, why is that empty? Because I realized I had stitched all of it way too close to the top. And once I got into these taller buildings, there wasn't room and I didn't feel like doing the math to fix it. So I ripped it out on the airplane home. I wouldn't recommend that when you're snugged into Economy Plus, but that's where we are. So, called for DMC. This is I think it's a 16 count Aida that I dyed pink and orange-ish myself with this Orca needle minder from the Blue Peony on Whidbey Island. Laura, what about your 2 favorite projects? I'm so glad you asked that. Here is the first one, our favorite, Blueberry J. Blueberry J is by JEDXStitch, and this is my Sunday project. So I'm stitching on this every day that it's sunny. And here is my progress. This is on 32 count Malachite by Fiber on a Whim. It's the called for fabric, called for DMC as well. I started up here, this pink, I finished kind of the blue. I only stitched on this one day last week. I stitched on this on Friday. It might have been sunny while I was gone. That's not my business. I don't know. And it's sunny right now, and it was sunny yesterday, but I decided that I am done stitching on my Sunday project because I started it in December, and my whole goal was to stitch on it on days that it was sunny because I didn't want a snow day project, LOL, because it doesn't really snow here and I would never work on it. So I started a Sunday project and I worked on this a ton. Let's see how many days. 6, 21, so 27, 28, 29, 30, 35, 42, 43, 43 days since mid-December when I started this project. That's a lot. In 3 or 4 months. It was sunny almost every day in February. I worked on it almost every day from mid-January on, actually. That's how sunny it was. So on this one, I am 4,496 stitches out of 11,659 stitches, or 38.56%. So again, here's my progress. I love this. I'm glad to take a little bit of a break from it though. And then my last project, our favorite, the Disco Ball of Doom. This is by Loopycross on Etsy. I will win this war and the battle. I've only stitched on it, I think, one day this week. I did not take it with me. It's too bulky on the Q-snap, and I just was not going to do that. But I have been trying to spin a Tiny Decisions wheel and stitch a color. So I already did one of those today, and I'm on the second color. I just took a break to film this. So in total, I have 12,332 stitches. I have just over 2,800 left for 81.42%. So I could stitch, a color a day and finish this in about a month. That's great because I think I have 28 or 29 colors left. So that's very exciting. Nashville Needlework Market is a wholesale market that happens in Nashville, Tennessee every March. And it's where all of the online needlework and local needlework stores go and pick up new patterns and all of that sort of stuff. So I placed a pre-order with Abby TopKnot, and it arrived yesterday, and I'm very excited. I went maybe a little overboard. That's okay. So the first thing I bought is I bought the floss pack and some fabric for a sampler for Grace by Shaded Stitchery. I did not buy the pattern yet because I know that I'm going to want the PDF of that because it looks giant. The called for is in Classic Colorworks, so I bought all of the called for flosses. Looks very pretty. And then the called for fabric is Affogato by Fiber on a Whim. And I got the 36 count Edinburgh linen, a fat quarter. I've never stitched on 36 count before. It looks real tiny, but I figured this is a sampler, and also that way I make sure I have plenty of floss. I did buy a second of Blackbird, which was suggested if you're stitching on anything other than, I think, the 40 count. So I went ahead and just ordered that at the same time. And this all came together, which is very exciting. I think that XO Needle in the Hay XO is going to do a stitch along on a sampler for Grace. So I'll join that when the PDF comes out. Next up, I bought another floss pack. I bought the Valdani floss pack for the Coneflower Chorus by the Blue Flower. Did I buy the pattern? No. Did I try to dye some fabric for it yesterday? Yes. I was so intent on starting that I figured out all the math and was like, okay, I think it'll fit on this piece of linen, or maybe this piece TBD. And I went nuts ice dyeing yesterday. Ice dyeing did not super work out, so I did just like a bath on these. But did I buy the pattern? No, I didn't. What was I thinking? So when that comes out on PDF, I'm gonna have to get that because I already bought the floss for this. Yeah, great job, Laura. So then I bought more patterns. I bought, of course, Pink Wren by JEDXStitch. I love that she, yeah, hold on. There's a picture in here. Let me grab the paper. She did a picture of what it would look like to round off the pattern and make it a full oval instead of kind of a banner. I thought that was terrific. Someone asked her, you know, what it would take, and so she just charted that. It looks pretty great. The total on that, if you include the top of the banner, is 110 by 286. The normal pattern is 110 by 234. So it'll be a couple inches larger to do that. Like I said, I already started working on this. I love it so much. Then I also bought Tiny Modernist Book Goddess because I saw this and was like, oh my gosh, a girl with colorful hair who loves books and whimsy and cake and flowers. I need this immediately. I'm a little bit salty that it's already available on PDF because apparently it wasn't a Nashville exclusive or a Nashville launch. Tiny Modernist released the PDFs the same day. So that's okay. I went ahead and bought it and I scanned this in my scanner and doing just fine on the paper pattern in Markup RXP. Not that I've started stitching this. I will start stitching this. I think, well, okay, this is that blue sky linen from Atomic Ranch. And so I have enough fabric for Book Goddess. She big. She real big. But I think I have, this is 17 by 17. And I think that'll fit it. Because she is, dang it, 142 by 184. So on 16 count, 9 inches by almost 12 inches, plus a margin. But her called for is Mint by Picture This Plus. I don't like Picture This Plus that much. I've only stitched on it a couple times. I was not a fan, especially of their Lugana. It looks like it has a hint more green. So I have to decide. I'm also going to change her hair to pink, obviously. And so what I'm probably going to do is those flowers are 351 and 352, which my floss is much more orange and red. So I'm going to probably change those and the roses to a more pink and then use the same colors in her hair. And then the green in her dress reads a lot more yellow green with the floss that I have. And I kind of like that like dark blue of the birds, that like teal green. Oh, it's the same color I dyed this Summer's Day by JEDXStitch. So I might switch, I might just change all the colors. Who knows? TBD. But I got to order some fabric for this in case I don't want to do it on the blue. Here's another reason why. Because my winter girl is on the blue and she's tiny. I thought she was going to be much larger. She will fit fully within this nerd tube, which is, it's a number 3. I don't know what size it is. The book goddess is giant. And I thought she was tinier. But do I want 2 girls on blue fabric? Probably not. So I might splurge and get something else. We'll see. TBD. And then, of course, I bought the X-Stitch the Rainbow Beneath the Sea floss pack and some patterns. I bought Jan Hicks Creates Underwater Garden. I bought Abby TopKnot Jam and the Jellies because look at that cat. I thought he was so cute. I bought Ink Circles, Gone Fishing, another cat. How cute is that? And then I got JEDXStitch Anemone. Aren't those so darn cute? And guess what? I bought extras. So, time for the giveaway. I'm going to do 2 giveaways, one for the US and then one international because I always feel bad when international folks don't get to participate. So, if you're US based, you get a copy of the 4 X-Stitch the Rainbow flosses from Cottage Garden Threads. And then you will also get a copy of JEDXStitch's Anemone. And then if you're international, you get a copy of Jam and the Jellies and some stickers because I think this is going to be pretty easy to mail, even if I have to fold it to like fit into a greeting card. For the giveaway, you need to, number 1, be 18 or over because I need to collect your address. Number 2, leave a comment down below. Do not say giveaway or winner because I don't want the trolleys coming. So if you're in the US, including Alaska and Hawaii, use the word WAVES, W-A-V-E-S. If you're not in the United States, so if you're in Canada or Europe or JPAC or wherever, use the word JAM, J-A-M, somewhere in your comment. And then I will pick one in 2 weeks during my normal Flosstube. Please tell your friends. I'm really excited to celebrate 125 subscribers. That's why I kind of went a little nuts on the ordering. So feel free to forward to your friends. I'll put an Instagram post out so you can easily forward and DM that to your friends. But I would just love to be able to share everything that this Flosstube has brought my way. I'm really grateful for the friends I've made through stitching on Instagram and Stephanie's member Zoom. I really just love it and it's so fun. In terms of plans, things that I'm going to start stitching, I am going to start stitching some of those Beneath the Waves projects. I'm currently dyeing some fabric right now. It's drying outside in the sunshine. Wanted to ice dye some like blue, purple, green fabric. So I will probably stitch Anemone by JEDXStitch first. I think that's the smallest out of all of those. And then not sure which one next. Obviously I bought a lot of them, so I will pick one and start stitching that. And then other plans, once I get the PDFs, I will start stitching a sampler for Grace and Coneflower Chorus. So I have, 6 or 8 projects to start. I'm gonna wait. No, that's a lie. I'm not waiting at all. A lot of people are waiting for Market May-nia. Gem, what is her? Stitch and Gem does Market May-nia each year. I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to go ahead and start stitching immediately, just because I can. My whip go this month was 750 stitches on a seasonal project. I've got the 2 winter ones. That's good. It was, the second call was a kind of a patriotic stitch from Liz Matthews. I don't really feel like starting that right now, so I'm just going to start something else instead. And then my whip go from last month that I didn't do was stitch a pattern from a vintage magazine. I'm going to stitch some little Halloween mice, and I'm going to start those in April for halfway to Halloween. I might also pull back out my Halloween house by Satsuma Street to work on in April. And I might, I don't know, like do a couple others on a wheel or something, because I love Halloween stitching and I would love to start stitching Halloween already. And why not? There's no rules. Do I have too many whips? Yes, that's okay. That's the way it goes. So those are my plans. All right. So in terms of other haul this week, I went major thrifting at some creative reuse centers. So first I really wanted to go to the Cleveland Reuse Center. I went last fall and it is terrific. And I got a ton of patterns and fabric. It's really great. I just did not have time this trip because I was there for work. But I did get to go to the Denver reuse store, which is called Denver Recreative. Apparently the gal that opened Seattle Recreative helped open that store. It's great. You walk in and it's in a very cool neighborhood, the Santa Fe neighborhood, which is, I guess, like the arts district. Across the street, there's a vintage store and that sort of thing. You walk in, they had some like fine art supplies and easels and that sort of thing. But they had a ton of fabric. They even had fabric on bolts to purchase. But I messaged my friend Amber, who is going to be opening a long arm quilting business down outside of Portland sometime in this near future. And I said, hey, what kind of, quilt books do you need for your quilting business? So she gave me a list. She gave me a list of things to kind of keep an eye out for. And of course, I found the first item on her list. This is Mindful Meandering, 132 original continuous line quilting designs by Laura Lee Fritz. So basically, if you do quilting, machine quilting, you can kind of use these types of pattern books to plan out what your quilting will be. I also got Dear Quilty, kind of a how-to from the early 2000s. I might keep this one. Stitched in Time by Alicia Paulson, who is Posy Gets Cozy. Just more of a craft book. I was sending Amber pictures of all of these books. I might keep this one too. Amber doesn't know that. And then Sarah Payne's Quilt School. Another one I might keep for myself. TBD. Those were all $2, except for the Posy Gets Cozy. That was $4. And then I found some fabric. And more fabric. I was sending Amber pictures of all of the fabric that they had. She said she was looking for some like retro style. And I was like, cool, this feels very retro. This was 10 yards for $40. And then I found this gas station vintage car fabric. This was 3 yards for $15, so $5 a yard. This little Dina fabric with foxes. Oh, that fox is upside. Why are these upside down? There we go. With these foxes on it. This was $20 for 3.5 yards. And then the pièce de résistance. This is Denise Schmidt quilt fabric. Amber loves Denise Schmidt. So when I saw this, I texted her in all caps and then went back through all of the fabric to see if there was other Denise fabric, because where there's one, there might be multiple. This was 3 3/4 yard for $24. I'm not very organized today. I've had to get up and get so many things for this video. I don't know what I was doing when I sat down to film this. There's also, I'm at minute 38 of recording and I probably have 20 minutes of usable footage. That's fine. That's how it goes. That's how it be sometimes. They had some cross-stitch patterns. I wouldn't say a lot of good ones. A lot of the booklets were, I don't know, just not my style. Not even what I would grab to maybe stitch someday. But I did get this October House Fiber Arts. This is Pumpkin Faire. I might stitch this as a small when I go to Pinwist because it's only 90 by 51. I thought that was cute. Then they had a bunch of these collection Tra-La-La patterns, which I had not heard of. They're from France, and they're charted in Gentle Art or Atelier or Classic Colorworks or Histoire de Lin, which must be a French one. I got Rosy, Jolie Fleur. I thought that was really pretty. And this is like 181 by 101, so it's not huge. Une Bergere en été. Bergere, I think, is shepherd. So a shepherd in summer. Jolie Fleur is pretty flowers. And then Un de Toi Noel. I liked that little Santa. Oops. I thought that Santa looked funny. These are 65 by 65 each. So someone had bought a ton of these. They were about $2 a piece. So that was my haul from Denver Recreative. I also got a little bit of vintage Aida and linen for like 50 cents to $1 a piece that I already started to dye. That's what was over there. And then I went to Seattle Recreative yesterday and got a couple of things. The first thing I got was this postcard of Abraham Lincoln because I had seen it a couple weeks ago. I had a friend that passed away last year from glioblastoma, and Caroline, she loved Abraham Lincoln and collected all sorts of things. And she was very, very crafty. She sewed her own clothes. She collected vintage jewelry. She found like vintage crewel kits. I mean, 20, 25 years ago, before that was like cool. And I don't know, I've just been thinking a lot about her this year because now that I'm like getting more into crafty stuff, she would have loved it. So I saw that and I got it. I got Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly magazine from winter 2006. Has a bunch of samplers in it. And I thought, that was pretty cool. So I'll probably stitch one or two of those eventually. This cool sampler pin cube, that sort of thing. So I don't know, just some cool stuff that that would be fun to stitch on. And then I got a couple other cross stitch things. Winterberry by Faltzcraft, which has these Winterberry patterns. Winterberry is a famous Faltzcraft, like Christmas china pattern. Originally from Ames department store, which went out of business in, I don't know, 1980 something, 1990. But I thought that was great. I got this Leisure Arts magazine because it has a Paula Vaughn on the cover. Do I stitch Paula Vaughn? No. Will someone? Sure. Not my kind of stitching, but you know, I thought it's called Fiddler and the Quilt Maker. Why not? Then I got some quilting stuff. America's Best Loved Quilts. Do I quilt? No. Do I want to? Maybe. But it had this plastic template inside. So I thought, well, sure, why not? And then I got The Ravens by Blackbird Designs, another quilt and applique book. Once again, do I quilt? No. Will I? Maybe. But all of those together was $1.20. This is supposed to be $2. Each of these quilt patterns should be at least 50 cents. The postcard should have been a couple dollars. She said no. They're 25 cents each. And I said, are you sure? Because I know they're supposed to be more. And she was like, it says right there, 25 cents. Okay, okay, lady, why don't you round up since you're a nonprofit? So I figured that was fair. I buy a lot of stuff in there. And a lot of these have probably been there for months or years. They don't turn over their inventory very often. So I was excited to get all of those. And maybe make something or not. I don't know. Am I a hoarder? We all know this. Absolutely. In terms of like other life stuff, work is working. The world is worlding. It's all great. It's all fine. Sure, whatever. I was traveling this week for work. I went to 2 different cities with very different weather. I'm glad to be home in Seattle and over my cold. I am almost entirely caught up on Flosstube. Y'all need to release some new Flosstubes because I'm done. I watched them all. I also watched, I'm caught up on Scrubs, which I love. And then I watched The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins on Peacock, which is very funny. It's from the same people that did Kimmy Schmidt. Thought that was very funny. I read a couple of cozy mysteries this week that were pretty terrible. Would not recommend. My sister read the first one, maybe the second one, and said, yeah, these aren't bad, and they are. That's okay. And I talked to a lot of people about romantasy books. So Sarah J. Maas announced the next 2 ACOTAR books, and I've only read the ACOTAR books. I have not read Crescent City or Throne of Glass. So in chatting with some customers at the onsite this week, we talked a lot about romantasy and where to start and which books to read next. So I put a Throne of Glass book, the first book, on audiobook on hold at the library. I was told the audiobooks are pretty great for those. And since I stitch a lot, I don't have time to read a book. But I am a book goddess. I read a lot of books. So I thought that would be great. Besides that, yeah, you know, that's it. So if you've made it this far, don't forget about the giveaway. If you're in the US, use the word waves. If you're not in the US, use the word jam. And I will pick a winner in about 2 weeks when I film my next Flosstube. And besides that, thanks for following along, and I'll talk to you soon.